Level 1, Subnormal. When we talk about the subnormal level of intelligence, we're referring to individuals who have significant challenges with learning, reasoning, and processing information, or what my dad calls me if I hand him the wrong tool once. In history, this category was treated harshly, often misunderstood or dismissed. But today, we understand that people in this range often have intellectual disabilities like Down syndrome, brain damage, or development issues. For someone at this level, tasks many people consider automatic, like tying shoes, reading a short sentence, or understanding basic instructions, might require repeated practice and guidance. It's not that they can't learn, learning simply happens more slowly and requires consistency. Routine becomes important because it reduces confusion and anxiety. As a result, education for this group focuses more on practical life skills than academic theory. Cooking simple meals, cleaning, hygiene routines, identifying signs of danger, and interacting with others. In conversation, someone in this intelligence range may understand simple phrases and ideas, but abstract concepts or sarcasm can be very difficult. At this level, independence varies widely, but most individuals require lifelong support. A prominent example would be a character like Patrick Star from SpongeBob. He is cartoonishly stupid, screwing up simple tasks like using tools or calling people on the phone. However, on a personal level, he is a good friend despite oftentimes struggling while interacting with smarter characters. Level 2, below average. People at this level can live independently, hold jobs, form relationships, and participate normally in society. The difference shows up more in how they handle complex tasks, problem-solving, and academic challenges. In school, someone at this level might need extra repetition or clearer explanations. They may learn better when information is visual or hands-on rather than purely verbal. They benefit from step-by-step instructions rather than being expected to figure it out. When pressured, they may shut down or avoid tasks entirely, not because they don't want to do them, but because the mental effort required is genuinely taxing. However, it's important to note that many people in this range excel in routine-based or physically oriented tasks. They may have strong work ethic, patience, and reliability, traits that are extremely valuable but often overlooked because society tends to exaggerate the importance of abstract intelligence. Socially, communication is usually smooth, though complex emotional cues or subtle humor may sometimes be missed. One challenge people at this level often face is comparison. They may feel frustrated if surrounded by peers who process information faster or adapt to changes more easily. This can lead to self-doubt, even though their abilities are still functional and valuable. People like Kevin Malone from The Office are perfect examples. He is constantly talking about stupid stuff and struggles to understand when the other characters make fun of him. However, he is able to hold a normal office job and leads a completely normal life. Level 3, average. Most people fall within this range, and most people believe they are way above it. Many see the word and assume it means ordinary or unremarkable. But in reality, it forms the baseline that schools, workplaces, and society are generally built around. People in this range can handle most academic subjects to a reasonable degree. They can use logic to solve common problems, though they may struggle when concepts become abstract or ambiguous. For example, most people at this level can understand basic algebra, but theoretical calculus or highly abstract philosophy may feel disconnected or difficult to grasp. In conversation, they can hold discussions about ideas, personal experiences, or current events, although their understanding of more complex topics generally remains surface level unless they have studied those areas specifically. They do well in environments where expectations are clear and instructions are broken down logically, in other words, the school system. Also, their decision-making tends to reflect common sense rather than deep analysis or innovative interpretation. They rely on established knowledge, cultural norms, and personal experience. Creativity exists, but usually within familiar boundaries. Level 4, Genius. Genius-level individuals often display intense focus in specific areas. They may spend long periods thinking, analyzing, or experimenting with ideas, sometimes losing sense of time entirely. This is because the process of thinking itself provides satisfaction. Unlike earlier levels, where learning is often driven by necessity or external expectation, geniuses are compelled by internal curiosity. Another one of the defining characteristics of genius intelligence is originality. They do not just understand existing knowledge, they can produce new ideas or frameworks. Academically, people here often excel without needing excessive study. However, their strengths go beyond school. They are capable of planning long-term goals, understanding systems as whole, and breaking down problems into manageable components. Communication follows the same trend. They can simplify the complex without oversimplifying it. Socially, however, this level can come with challenges. People operating at this capacity may become aware that others around them do not process information in the same way or at the same speed, which can lead to a superiority complex. Especially in structured environments like school, geniuses may struggle. Standardized learning is built around repetition and uniform pace, but geniuses often learn rapidly and then become restless or unengaged. They may appear distracted or rebellious, not because they lack discipline, but because the environment is not stimulating enough to match their cognitive rhythm. In adulthood, a genius may revolutionize a field, but this only occurs when their environment allows them to develop their skill. Level 5, Polymath. While a genius may develop profound mastery in one domain, a polymath demonstrates significant competence across multiple domains. For example, a polymath might use mathematics to enhance their understanding of music or philosophy to influence their approach to engineering. Polymaths are drawn to new skills and ideas because novelty itself stimulates them. They tend to read widely, question assumptions, experiment frequently, and seek experiences that expand their perspective. They are not satisfied with knowing that something works. They also want to know how and why, and then apply that understanding elsewhere. However, this wide intellectual range can come with challenges. Society often encourages specialization, the idea that one should pick a path and stay in it. Polymaths resist this naturally. Their interests evolve, sometimes rapidly. To others, this can appear unfocused. But in reality, the polymath's mind is constructing a multidimensional understanding of the world. Historically, figures such as Leonardo da Vinci, Hypatia, and Benjamin Franklin are often used as examples. They did not merely accumulate knowledge, they synthesized it to create entirely new ways of understanding the world. Level 6, Visionary. Visionaries are not simply creative or smart. What sets them apart is directional thinking. They can look at a situation, a technology, or a cultural shift and intuitively sense where it is heading. Their ideas often seem unrealistic or impractical at first, sometimes even foolish, because they challenge established beliefs and require others to adjust their understanding of what is possible. While most people need evidence before acting, visionaries act to create the evidence. They make choices that seem risky because the logic behind them is unfolding across years, not days. However, the visionary level also comes with challenges. Because they think far ahead, they often struggle with everyday practicalities. They may overlook immediate needs, strain relationships, or appear detached from the people around them. Socially, their intensity can be misunderstood as arrogance or obsession. Examples of individuals at the visionary level include Nikola Tesla, who imagined wireless communication, renewable power systems, and global energy long before the world was prepared to build them. Steve Jobs, who reshaped technology by focusing not on hardware alone, but on the emotional and cultural relationship humans have with devices. Level 7, Transcendent. People at this level operate with deep internal clarity. They see humanity not as individuals competing for survival, but as interconnected beings shaped by shared experience. Transcendent thinkers often withdraw, not out of avoidance, but because constant immersion in daily concerns feels narrow compared to the larger patterns they perceive. Silence, reflection, and introspection become tools rather than escapes. They understand suffering, desire, identity, and awareness at their root level. As a result, their influence tends to be timeless. Their words remain relevant across centuries because they do not address temporary issues. They address the core of human existence. Examples often associated with this level include the Buddha, who sought to understand the nature of suffering and consciousness itself. Socrates, who questioned the foundations of knowledge, identity, and truth in a way that still defines philosophy today. People at this level are not defined by achievements or inventions. Their presence itself becomes a form of guidance.